Hey everyone, I'm Emily Cook, and thank you for tuning in to our Mattermost Stars AMA panel, where our top contributors answer the questions that you've submitted. 9 of our top contributors participated, so I will throw their names up and their Mattermost usernames on the screen here. Just a little bit about what to expect. There were about 20 questions submitted total. So this was meant to just be a casual talk with them to kind of get to know them a little bit and learn some stuff from them. So they picked which questions they wanted to answer, chose how few or how many, and how long their answers would be. So because I left it pretty unstructured, it did end up being about an hour and 15 minutes long. I tried to cut it down and I really just couldn't. But as this is pre-recorded, you can replay anything, if you need to go take a break. But yeah, this is just meant to be a casual way for us to connect and give them the spotlight a little bit. They're all very fun and kind and insightful people, and I had an absolute blast talking with all of them. I encourage you all to reach out to them as well, especially if anything they say grabs your attention. So I've talked long enough, so without further ado, here we go.
Hello, I'm Tom de Moor. I am the maintainer of the Dutch translations for Mattermost. Like contributing to Mattermost.
My name's Andrew Hankey. I'm 17, if you can believe that. I work as a contract and freelance system administrator and cybersecurity consultant. Have a background in industrial engineering and design, manufacturing, and also happen to be a DJ and race car driver as well.
My name is Umang and I'm from India. I have completed my bachelor's in information and communication technology, and I'm working as product engineer at Learn, where we build software for people to learn and get education. Other than work, I like reading, cycling, and hiking. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Hi, I'm Zubair Ahmed. I live in Hyderabad, India. I work as a senior front-end developer at a Dubai-based company called the Talent Enterprise. I have not always been a developer. I moved from being a mechanical design engineer to a software engineer. And I'm loving it so far, the career which I've chosen, which I'm glad I have chosen. And I like doing open source. And I think one of the most major contributions I have done to open source is totally in Mattermost right now, and I don't regret that. So open source is a way for me to not only improve myself as a developer, but also meet other people who have facing new challenges, get to know them. Doesn't have to always be technical, but also culturally. It makes me aware how we have a wide culturally background people in our tech ecosystem, and it makes me really grateful for me to also be a part of it. So, yeah.
So I'm Jay Tabab on the Mattermost community zone. I'm an IT professional in Switzerland, and living in Zurich.
I'm Yusuke Nemoto, and I live in Japan. And I'm working as a software engineer in Japanese IT company. And I've contributed to Mattermost since 2016. I contributed as a Japanese translation official reviewer, and also published some integrations such as Matterport plugin. And sent some projects to Mattermost itself. Actually, I wrote blog entries about Mattermost in Japanese. I've written monthly articles introducing the new features of Mattermost monthly releases since version 3.6. And so I've been honored to be selected as a Mattermost superstar for the amount of views I've been getting on my entries. Actually, I've been selected as a Mattermost MVP for version 4.6, and so 5.32 release.
Yeah, so hey everyone, my name is Hardik. I'm a junior pursuing my bachelor's in computer science and engineering. And I've been a part of the Mattermost community since the past 8 to 9 months, if I'm not wrong. And I've contributed to like various major Mattermost projects, like server. I've contributed to server, the web app, and various plugins, GitHub. So we have a lot of plugins, right? So I've contributed to GitHub. I've contributed to the Jira plugin as well. And very recently, I have also contributed to some docs of Focal Board, right? And the Focal Board is a project that I am personally enjoying very much. So if you people haven't checked it out yet, so please do. It is I'll just give a brief intro of it. It is an like open source, self-hosted alternative to apps like Trello, Notion, and Asana. So it's very similar to them, and it is helping me personally very well. I am being productive using it, and so version 1.0 is not out yet, but I believe when it will be out, so it will be a huge one. And apart from that, I've also been learning stuff like, I started learning Golang when I started contributing to Mattermost. So I've been simultaneously contributing and learning together. So yeah, that was a bit about me.
Yes, and I'm an IT student from Belgium. I have just turned 28 the last December. And I've joined basically the Mattermost project back in 2016. Actually, I didn't even remember the moment when I joined. This is because you have sent this SCEP to me, and the date is written on it. So, so yeah, it's a great memories to have this SCEP on my side. And yes, I'm working right now as a student at Collabora. And I'm also involved on a bunch of other open source projects like LibreOffice and the French community as well.
Okay, my name is Chaitanya. So I work as a full stack software developer I have more than 3 years of experience. And so when I'm thinking really hard, I like to mess around with the Rubik's Cube. And in my free time, I like reading novels and watching movies and anime.
I work in a small non-profit organization in Belgium, so the budget for training is limited. And being active in an open source community gives me the opportunity to learn a lot. I see how others solve issues. I see which issues I will run into in some time, and how you deal with it. And so, for me, contributing to an open source project is learning a lot. And I was in the lead of a non-IT project for about 3 years, and so I didn't code much and at that time, and I wanted to get back into IT, and the open source community where I was previously active in had changed a lot, so I was looking for a new community to get involved in. I always had an interest in communication technology, and I already knew Mattermost. And I also knew those cool mugs when you contributed. And so I started looking at Mattermost, and I installed it, and I saw that the Dutch translations weren't really up to date. And so I started translating it to Dutch, because that's something that my user base would really like. And yeah, from one thing came another. When you're translating, you get to know the product much better, and then you see, oh, you have incoming and outgoing webhooks, and oh, that's something I can play with. And then I started using Mattermost for monitoring our fridges, but I wanted my colleagues to be able to do the same and to maintain the code, so I had to write some documentation, but that ended up in a series of blog posts for Mattermost. And in the meantime, Mattermost was also moving away from Poodle to Weblake for the translations, and because I did a lot of translations in a quite short time period, Mattermost asked me, okay, what are things we have to keep in mind when we are moving away from Poodle? And yeah, I just rolled in it. Then I got invited to a hackathon, and then I learned about plugins, and I say, whoa, that's cool, you can even do much more with Mattermost. And then I started investigating what can I do with plugins and how can I do it, and that ended up in a new series of blog posts. And so yeah, I ran into Mattermost, and I'm still here, and I'm still enjoying it a lot.
I started contributing to Mattermost mainly because I love the platform, and my background in server deployment and setup and my understanding of how to use a command line and stuff like that, I've come to realize is a lot more than what a lot of people that are currently in the professional workforce may have. And that makes me uniquely suited to be able to provide help to people when they're in that tough spot. And giving back to a community of great people for a great product is something I love doing.
So like I have been exploring Golang from past few years, and like I wanted to learn more. So I was looking for open source project which use Golang. So I had some 2-3 projects we found out. And out of all those, like Mattermost had very readable and understandable code, and I went through like GitHub issues and the PRs. So like I saw that core members are also like very helpful to contributors, and like review process and everything was very like fast and helpful. So I picked that, and I have been enjoying so far, like contributing to Mattermost and getting involved.
I've started like almost like 2 years back. When I was casually searching on GitHub. At that time, I wanted to improve my Golang skills. So I was looking for a project to contribute to Golang skills and also React. So while I was searching, Mattermost just popped up on the first page of the results, and I thought, let's see what this is. When I opened it, I started reading the documentation. I was like, this is actually really cool because it uses Go, which I want to improve, and also React, which I already know a little bit. So maybe I could upskill myself in both the languages. That was the first. I think the first point which I thought, okay, let's start doing that. But then when I slowly started getting with the community and looking, first thing which many of is how to get started with open source. And when I posted my question on the first issue, can you help me with this? And you don't believe, but one of the core contributors, staff of the Mattermost, actually hopped on a video call to explain me the whole process and setting up the laptop. I was really blown out in mind, because you're doing that for someone who doesn't work with you. I mean, he's just a regular contributor. So that gave me a feeling all the Mattermost values its contributors a lot. So that really hooked me on the community, and I started contributing more and more towards Mattermost.
Because it was simply a failure in docs. And it took the support a while to figure it out if it's needed or not. And then I heard it's not needed, and I saw that it was not fixed, so I started to fix it.
I had wanted to participate in any open source projects. So because I wanted to learn about different development styles. So the open source project I had in mind is one that continues to release new features with new technologies quickly, and responding to requests and issues from users, and doing so in the open. So I'm interested in how to achieve that, and Mattermost is doing that, I think. The reason why I select Mattermost is that I use Mattermost on a daily basis. So if I use it daily, so it's easy to notice requests for our desired features and issues we encountered. And that causes that it's easy to find points to contribute. And we started using Mattermost in 2016. And I found the small incorrect translations and send a fix for it. So that is my first contributions. So after the first contributions, while I was translating some other messages, so Jason said hello in community chat, and involved me. And after that, so I'm involving to the Mattermost project. Yeah.
So I remember it was October last year in 2020, when I came across Mattermost, and it had been only like a few initial months, like 2-3 months before only I had started learning about Git and GitHub. So at first I joined the community server, and I got a feel of how it all works. I like the UI UX pretty much, and I got a feel of how the app works. So it seemed pretty interesting to me. And so according to me, I believe that if you want to know if whether or not an open source project excites you, right? So you first need to ask yourself that something like the project or product which I'm really contributing to, will I personally use it myself on a daily basis in future, right? Because if you're not excited about the project that you're contributing to, so you cannot expect other people to be excited about it, right? So, well, in my case, the answer was a capital yes. I was very interested in contributing to Mattermost. So then finally, when I went ahead and cloned the repo, and I was going through the source code, everything was in Go. So at first, it was all gibberish to me, to be very honest, and it was very overwhelming at first, right? So then I began reading the docs, and luckily, I remember I found a broken link somewhere, and that was my first contribution to Mattermost. Like I fixed a broken link, right? And it's okay. I mean, you are not getting judged on the length of your pull requests. So if everyone knows you are a student, you are also learning, so it doesn't really matter. And it was October, yeah, it was October 2020, so it was also Oktoberfest back then, and I also got the lovely swag. But don't do it only for the sake of doing. Like I have shared with the community from then till date, and hopefully forward also, since then. And I think this is what everyone's approach should be.
Well, during my studies, I found that a company specialized in network security, and we were just looking for a tool to chat in our team and with our clients. And I was searching for a tool that was efficient to use, and I was loving the backend being written in Go, which is quite effective compared to competitors. And I tried to use it, and we adapted it internally. And I've seen that the French translation was lagging a bit behind, so I started from there, actually.
So I used Mattermost at work, and so once when I was checking the logs, I saw a message that had a spelling mistake, and so I quickly fixed that and submitted a pull request. And so I also received a mug with my GitHub username printed on it. And so I've been like contributing small and large features and bug fixes ever since.
I've raised this point before with Jason, and I would like to tell Mattermost to change its main branch, that is master, rename it to main, to be more inclusive. Yeah.
Stop defining E10 as a little bad brother of E20. Would be great if the Mattermost staff could bring some plugins over the finish line that started from the community, like the Remind plugin. I mean, it's there, it's somehow useful, somehow not, and I wish sometimes there would be a push that it's integrated. I mean, Eric is always saying, yeah, we do it into the core product, but at the end, nothing happens.
I don't feel like a top contributor. I put some time into Mattermost, that is true, but I'm not yet reaching the quality I want to reach. So calling me a top contributor is too much of an honor. But I do feel valued. To be honest, I like swag, and yes, Mattermost is providing me a lot of swag. Almost every month I get my portion. So Hannah Park, shout out to her. She's really the queen of swag. And so thank you, yeah. And actually, those mugs you give to contributors are really something people look at and say, okay, that's cool. I want that. If I contribute to a project, maybe I can do that one, because those mugs are really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot. So, I knew about the contributor mug that you guys shipped, right? When your first PR is merged. Because how I came to know about it, when I was signing the CLA. So for those of you who don't know what a CLA is, it's a standard contributor license agreement which people have to sign whenever you start contributing to any open source project, or not any, but most of them, right? So but I thought that was about it, and I received it a month or two later, all because of the customs too. It has to come to India, right? So, but I received it, and it felt pretty great. So as I said, I started contributing during October, and from October to January, I contributed a lot of code or a lot of documentation, right? Until our university started loading us with assignments. So till that time was good. And little did I knew there was something also known as the MVP for each server version release, right? So I believe when the version 5.31 was released back in Jan this year, so Amy announces it on the community server, right? So she announced like a version 5.31 release MVP is Hardik Dharma, and everybody sent me wishes, they congratulated me, and even my name was put up on the Mattermost Hall of Fame. So so I believe that okay, this is also great recognition. My name is up on the website. They have also tweeted about me, so it felt quite good. But again, that then I thought, okay, now finally this is it. You won't get much more recognition than that. But a few weeks later, out of nowhere, I got a call from the UPS mailing service. UPS mailing service. So the guy told me that you have a shipment from Mattermost, and I was wondering, like, the mug already arrived. So what have I done more? So what have they folks sent me now? So once I collected the shipment and opened it, so it was the lovely glass coaster each MVP gets, right? So it's pretty cool. Like, you have your GitHub username here, you have the MVP and the MVP logo, and also the release version for which. So this was pretty amazing. I have like kept it very nicely and hope it doesn't break. And I also look forward to collecting more of these. And then, of course, I was invited to MatterCon by you, Emily. So thank you for that. And you can see today I'm talking here in front of you people at the top contributor panel. So of course, I feel a lot valued as a contributor, and every one of you will, I believe. So,
as I personally don't feel as a top contributor, but I say yes because I get the invitation to the VIA MatterCon. I got 2 years ago the invitation from Jason that I could fly to the Bahamas. I got the stickers. I got Christmas presents the last 2 years. So from that, yes, I'm absolutely feel noticed and value this. Thank you very much.
Definitely, because we each time we are asking question, the community is helping us, or even the Mattermost staff employees, like Jason, for example, who has been my the person who introduced me to the team and who has invited me to the MatterCon 2018. Maybe a small story from this, if I need to answer this question, is do I feel evaluated? Definitely, because I've been introduced to the the CEO back in the days in person, and we were just chatting during an evening after the dinner, and Yang Tian, the CEO, asked me, "Hey, how could you improve our brand on Twitter and so on?" And I was just proposing, we could maybe change our nickname to simply use Mattermost instead of Mattermost HQ. And he led me over his own phone, and I have just written an email to Twitter using his phone under his name. So this is a proof that you are definitely validating your top contributor is, and this is quite an anecdote to tell when some people are asking me, oh, we have moved from our old nickname on Twitter. So it's a great story to tell sometimes.
So this one I really thought about, and so I think I don't know if it already exists, but some document that highlights like what level of contribution will allow you to become a top contributor. So, which is absolutely essential.
Actually, right now, with all the goodies you have been sending to me, like this magnificent cup with the Mattermost logo at the back, right now I could basically reach a level where we could get a full Mattermost branded kitchen. I don't need to buy cups anymore. I don't need to buy t-shirts anymore, because everything is being basically covered by Mattermost and me always good goodies. And even socks. Right now I have a bunch of Christmas-like Mattermost branded socks. So definitely better recognized sub-contributor would be hard. I would just answer that just continue to be as amazing as you are, and this will be way enough, I mean, for a community, especially as we are still being invited to all the meeting you do, like the MatterCon. I have participated in the version from 2018. I haven't been able to do it the year later, but I came back in 2020, and wow, this was quite a huge difference between the both edition, because the company has really been quite enlarged in the meantime.
Yeah, this is a topic I've been thinking a lot, and I would like to bring some light on it. So I've been asked by a lot of my peers and also the other community members, like they have this what we can say, they have this myth in their mind that if they don't know how to code, or if they don't write much of a code, so they can't contribute to open source, to Mattermost or open source in general. So I believe this is a complete misconception, and I would say every open source project has a non-technical side to it, of course. Otherwise the things won't work. So the first non-technical aspect that contributors can come and contribute to is, of course, the documentation. So I read a tweet a few weeks back which said, if you build the best open source project in the world, but if you lack good documentation, no one will use it, right? And I believe that is very true in the open source world, right? So TLDR, documentation can make or break your project. So even Mattermost has a couple of repositories. They have the docs repository, we have the developer documentation repository, we even have a handbook repository, but that is, I guess, believe not for the contributors. So yeah, there are, of course, everyone can contribute to documentation. It doesn't require any coding. So that is one aspect. The other aspect I would like to talk about is translations. So translations are another good way to contribute, right? So folks from India, if you guys are watching this, I would like to tell you that Hindi contributions are not done yet. They are like very, very less strings are translated to Hindi. So Hindi can be a great language you can start contributing with. So that was about translation. So if you have any questions, you can just hop on the server in the localization channel. You can ping me. There's also this great webinar by Tom, who is the Dutch language maintainer. He has explained how to use Weblade and stuff and all that. So even I've been learning that recently so that I can help with the Hindi translations. But let's see how it goes. And you can reach out to anybody. You can also reach out to Yusuke. He's a Japanese maintainer. So when I had to start with translating, even I personally messaged him that how do I get started, and then he told me about join this channel. You can watch this webinar. And yeah, so that was about translations. And third thing I would like to say, QA testing. So the testing is also an important part of a project, right? So it's like you can test a particular component of web app, like something like sidebar or any other component of web app, or you can go for testing a complete project like focal board, right? I've helped in focal board testing, so I've created issues. So that is another way you can contribute, which doesn't require coding knowledge. You just have to test it, and if you find some bug, some icon is missing, right, some UI UX improvements, you can suggest that. So that is other way you can contribute. And if you report a bug, you get that cute bug hunter coin, I believe. I haven't got that yet, but yes, I know. And also recently, if you contribute to a security, if you find out a security vulnerability, something like that, so you get the security researcher mug or something like that. Even I read that on the server somewhere. So there are a lot of ways to contribute. You just have to start.
Since I've started contributing regularly to Mattermost like a year and a half ago-ish, I've noticed the community actually expand greatly as far as the community Mattermost server, the forums, which weren't really all that active when I first started getting on there regularly. And over the course of 2-3 months of me checking the forums, responding every day, it just ballooned to where there's an insane amount of posts that are being created or responded to by dozens of people daily. Same in the community server. The peer-to-peer help, there wasn't always that much traffic, and if there was, it wasn't necessarily people answering questions, it's people just asking them. But I've noticed over the last year or so, there's been a large number of skilled individuals that have also started contributing to Mattermost, which I think makes this community really special in the sense that it's not just like Stack Overflow where you can know absolutely nothing and pretend like you do. because we have the genuinely knowledgeable people here that have the desire to give back.
So I've been contributing since September 2018. So it's been more than, I guess, around 3 years. So I've seen huge changes in Mattermost. And so like when I was just started, like the community server was still named pre-release. And now there are 3 servers and like, which are like somehow magically running different branches of code. Like that's something that I've always been curious about. And so I was when I was just starting contributing, so the plugins were just introduced and they were in beta, and they're still in beta, but like now there's a plugin marketplace and there's this apps like Mattermost apps which you can use to like extend like even mobile app features. And I saw this, and Mattermost Redux repo, like that was archived and its code was moved to mobile app and web app code bases. And also Mattermost launched a new project Focal Board. So I still haven't played around with that, but yeah, so it's been really fun like watching all the small wins of Mattermost. So I've been really lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear, I can see in the archive channels that a lot of people, there are some people going, some people coming. There is this core team that is always around, like Jason and Elias and so on. But yeah, the company is moving around, you see. I mean, it's also clear for you that you need to do something about teams. Because yeah, I mean, I see it also in my world that Teams is coming around the corner or is already here. And yeah, somehow sometimes it's not clear to me where the direction goes. I mean, I see a lot of stuff, and I see a lot of plugins coming and so on, and I see where the shift goes a bit into the programming way to go, but that's not what is on my side, because on my side it's simply messaging. And yeah, so but the community itself it's okay. I mean, I have not so much community interaction, because in my channels I've just let's say the typical Mattermost staff that is around, so I don't have the real connectivity to all the contributors and so on.
It's definitely the company being from a small family to being way bigger. But even if the company became way bigger, since we know which person to call for help, the family mindset has remained inside the company. So it's definitely something I would like to not to change actually in the future, or to remain the same like family I know basically.
I've contributed since 2016, so I might be one of a long-time contributor. So, and I think that's the biggest difference from the past is that so there are now more people involved to the Mattermost project. So, for my insights, so around 2016, so I think I could kind of see what the Mattermost organization on GitHub was doing, but so cannot it recently. And now GitHub Mattermost organization has various repositories, and each of them is very active. So not only they're not slowing down even as the number of people increases, but Mattermost seems to be moving forward with new technologies. So it is amazing for me. So, and Mattermost have started to develop a focal board, which is different from the Mattermost. And I think that Mattermost is very good at expanding their reaches. So, and I think the number of non-developers members is also increasing. Also, I cannot see it so very well. But so about 2 years ago, when the Mattermost salespeople came to Japan, and they gave me a chance to meet them. So it was attended to a seminar hosted by Mattermost Japanese partner at NRI. But I think Mattermost is growing because the members of Mattermost came to Japan, and so I had a chance to meet them. So I never imagined that when I started to contribute. And I'm glad to see that Mattermost is expanding in various fields as it increases the number of contact points with me and with us. So that is so great for me.
Four things, actually. First, it's international, really worldwide, and especially the translations, of course. And that diversity is something I personally like a lot. It's an enrichment. Two, it's a very friendly and welcoming community. The first day I started contributing, I was already thanked by a staff member for my contribution. He also did a follow-up, and that really made me feel welcome and appreciated. And I like the atmosphere. We work together on a beautiful product, and when I commit a pull request, they often need modifications, but the feedback has never been negative. It's always in a very friendly way that helped me to improve my skills. And people are taking time or making time to learn me, to explain me. It's not that toxic culture that looks down on people. No, it's like helping each other to grow. And four, Mattermost has very clear values, and you stand for something. When you're supporting International Women's Day, and now you're supporting Pride Month, that's saying everybody is welcome here. I always keep the words of Martin Luther King in mind, and I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. It's of course much wider than the color of their skin. It's religion, gender, sexual orientation, disabilities or abilities, and that's what you're really saying. Everybody is welcome here. It's a positive atmosphere. It's a loving atmosphere, and yeah, that's a very nice community to be in, to spend time in.
So actually, the involvement of the Mattermost staff is one of the things I like most about Mattermost. It honestly threw me off a bit when I first started learning about what the platform was and integrating it, because I've never seen, and I still have not found, another company that staff are publicly readily available up to like the highest levels with essentially a DM. Knowing that it's an open source project with really open staff makes the entire project a lot more legitimate, a lot more appealing. And the fact that you could message an executive if you really wanted to, and they'd be friendly and happy to talk to you, that's really unique and special compared to a lot of the other big companies out there where you have to jump through lots of hoops just to get an email or a phone number for most people in a company.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So, I mean, as I said, I ask a lot of questions because even I am a student and I'm learning new things every day. So, but I believe that every time messaging on the public channel may not be the right thing to do. For every little question, you can't just, text on the public channel. So quite often, or like I must say, very often I DM a staff member or any reviewer, with any questions I'll have related to a PR, an issue, and how I might solve them. And each one of them is like very welcoming, and they give you a positive vibe. And what I like about it is that they don't just tell you the solution; they even tell you the work around it, how it works, right? So that you understand it. And I've been in touch with Michael because I've contributed to the GitHub and Jira plugin also. So he has been super helpful. I've been in contact with Ben. Ben has been helpful. Agniva, he has helped me a lot personally. And then Harshil, Claudio, and then Chen for focal word, as I said. And I mean, it is impossible for me to name all of them. So yeah, I think the staff are very actively involved in the community, and they are helping the contributors to the best possible extent they can.
Yeah, very much. Like as I pointed out in last answer only, like I saw that lots of core committers were like very much involved in the community. So like when I started contributing to MatterMost, like whenever I had some issues or some doubts, I will ping anyone on the MatterMost community server, and they were like very helpful. They will explain in very detailed and concise manner. So that helped me learn a lot of things in past few months.
Definitely, because each time the community is stuck with a problem, I just ask some key people inside the MatterMost staff, and they help to unlock the situation. And sometimes when I joined the project, for example, I didn't know anyone, and Jason really helped me to introduce me to the right people who could help me unlock a particular situation. So right now, I know quite a bunch of people at MatterMost, and I can definitely request for help each time I'm stuck at the problem. So it's definitely a great opportunity we have here in MatterMost. A situation we don't always have at other open source project, because sometimes you don't have a community or even a staff always available to answer a question. So yeah, definitely I'm loving this stuff, and he is definitely involved enough in the community, I think.
And that's a hard one. I mean, I love everything about MatterMost. But if I had to pick one thing, I think it would definitely be the way that the community works to make the actual platform, the code itself, and the software a lot more than what the code and the software would be just as a download that you can implement. A lot of what MatterMost is wouldn't be everything that it is without the people that contribute to it, the people that devote their time to creating the plugins, and in the future the apps that give a lot of the functionality that might not be there, and providing the feedback, the developer testing, and all that stuff. It would be a lot for one company to do, and I think MatterMost has been able to make a lot of progress forward a lot faster than they would have been able to without thousands of people just using our product and not being afraid to get feedback.
It's just working. It's simply just working. I mean, as soon as I see that the new build is up, I upgraded my instance, and normally I don't need to complain. So it's just great that it's working.
So like my favorite thing about MatterMost is transparency. Like in like lots of important and like big decisions are like discussions are done in public in like community servers, and even like internal developer meetings are open for anyone to join. So like I haven't seen that in any other, like I don't know any other organizations or like projects which do that. So that's pretty great.
Even if there is a company behind, the community is still heard. So each time we have suggestions to make, the staff is listening to us. We always, and always quite much of the time actually, have one-to-one interview or even small hackathon. I mean, I remember a story on this when a bunch of a new developer joined the community. I was quite of the oldies contributor there, and I helped them get, introduced to the history of MatterMost. Sometimes when you have newcomers joining a team on this, it's always great to have help in both directions. I mean, so yeah, it's what I love most about MatterMost.
I love MatterMost, so their full functionality and completeness of the MatterMost product from the moment I first touched MatterMost. So, and also the community is active, and so new features are constantly being added. So I have always liked it since the beginning. And so people around me said that they like the fact that they can use the markdown on the post on the message, and so that they can customize Mattermost freely, such as integrating other systems and making their bots and adding custom emojis. So in particular, so emojis are very popular in our company. Hundreds of emojis have been added. So in Japanese, so we can express a lot with a small number of letters. And I think we can express almost all emotions with at least 4 letters. So so many emojis with only letters are registered in our instances. So, but the problem is that there are so many emojis registered, so it's hard to find the emojis that we want to express. That is a real problem. So, and lastly, so above all, I think our company like the fact that we can build a chat infrastructure so freely without putting our data out of our control. That is so very critical things for our companies.
We can allow plugins to use the React components in Mattermost web app and arbitrarily app functions inside Mattermost server, and so that would be really cool. And it would be really difficult to implement, but like it would just change the plugin development experience to a whole new level. So that would be a really cool feature.
Oh, I really would like the feature has been read by, because we are working in different time zones and you send something and you don't know, is it read already? That would be something nice.
Our company has a very large of people. So, and unfortunately, we have some Mattermost instances in our companies. And so the data is stored in each instance. So we must maintain the account for each instance to access data. So I wish I could merge the data from multiple instances to one Mattermost instance. So that feature is great for us.
So I believe I worked most with Agniva for the server-side changes, right? I hope I pronounced his name right. So he has been super helpful and patient with me. And not only that, I have even learned a lot of things from him. So if I remember, I had opened a PR on the server repository. So the issue was related to bulk import, and we had to validate all the import files and print the errors if any, right? So when I opened that pull request, so some of the tests were failing. And I was unable to figure out that, I believe 2 tests were failing. Yeah. So I was unable to figure it out that why these tests are failing. So I thought that I'll just DM Agniva and ask him if he can help me. So I just reached out to him on the community server. I DM'd him. So I reached out to him saying that, I couldn't figure out why these tests are failing. Can you help me with it? So if any normal person would have told me like, okay, you have to make changes here or you have to make changes there so that the tests pass. But he asked me a very terrific question. He asked me, have you ever used a debugger before? And I was like only in my sophomore year back then. And I thought that how should I tell him that, no, I haven't used a debugger before. So, but I thought that it's better to be honest, right? So I just replied him back saying that, hey, I've been learning Go since a few months only now. And I'm not used to such huge code bases, right? And whenever I have to debug my code, they are like small pieces of code and I use print statements. So that's like the newbie style of debugging. So I told him that. So then I was anxious that how would he respond to this? But when he responded, he said, perfect, that's how most people start. So, and then later he told me about there's a thing called dev debugger, which is used to debug Go code, Go test, and all that. So I installed it, and he even gave me a walkthrough, like how a debugger works, how you can use to debug the code or the tests, how to add breakpoints, and every little thing about debugger he taught me. So that day I learned to use a debugger. And Agniva, if you're watching this, I would like to say sorry if I ask a lot of silly questions, and first thank you for your time. And what other thing I like about him is he shares a lot of knowledge on the Go channel on the server. He shares sometimes blogs, some video tutorials, So even those have helped me to learn Go pretty well.
I work a lot with Jason, who is the person who introduced me to MatterCon. I love to work with him because he's basically the same age as me, and we get along very well. The other staff member I'm working with, it has been quite some months ago now. This is Guillermo Valla and Dean Willier, which I have worked on the desktop application in order to finally merge the MSI installer I built for Windows. This was a ticket that has been lagging for a long time on the desktop application, and they were requesting the help from the community in order to build the MSI installer. And I decided it could be a great opportunity for me to learn how to do this. And I proposed this to the traditional Wednesday developer meeting. It has been accepted, and I provided a proof of concept. It took some time to get it quite mature enough to merge it as the final version, but we finally succeeded to do this. So it went very well, and the work we did together worked quite nicely. This was not something as hard as I would have expected, because even if Dean was working in Canada time, Guillermo and me in European time, this was quite easy to manage, finding hours of hackathon session to perform such a work, and we managed to do this. So, great memories I have there as well.
It's hard to say only one member, because over the period of years, I have developed a really good professional relationship with a lot of people in Mattermost, and I really am glad that we have a really good friendship, apart from being just Mattermost. So I think not inclusive of priority, but I'm just saying whoever comes to mind. So Jason Blair, he is. He was one of the very first member I got connected with. He have always been there with any of my questions, and he have supported me in any kind, or at least directed me to do correct help. And not only this, but I've also in my work, I've also asked a lot of questions regarding how to handle community and what are the good practices. And he is always, it's not just he was only being, he was able to help with Mattermost, but also any other questions which he could answer. And once I also asked him to review my resume, which he also did. So, yeah. And another one is Ali, but he left Mattermost, I think. But he was one of the first member I connected with when I started with Mattermost. He was really helpful, really sweet person. Always because at the beginning, would always approach him, and he was really very approachable. And then Saturn. He's also, I think he's the person who actually got me started with testing. So before I met him, I probably wasn't doing a lot of testing. But once I started talking with Saturn, he explained me what are the good practices around testing and all that. I think I owe a lot of my testing career to him. So yeah, and and many members. A lot of them are now friends, which is Jason French. I speak to him not only about Mattermost, but of any personal reasons or anything. And he always hop on a call and to answer any of the questions. So yeah. Staff members are now more like friends to me, and I'm glad to do that. Yeah.
I'm a drone pilot, and I like swimming.
As far as hobbies, like I said, DJ, race car driver. Competition Vex, head chassis designer. Vex is robotics, so competitive robotics, head competition driver, head programmer, head chassis designer. We went to States 4 years in a row. So there's that. Most of my time, free time at least, is spent either working with my clients or bug bounty hunting, which is essentially ethically hacking companies, and then they pay you, which is nice. It's been some crazy stuff I've gotten into with that, but non-disclosure agreements prevent me from talking about pretty much all of that.
it's my IT. So my profession is also my hobby, and sometimes I'm playing games like Diablo or Warcraft or something like that. And my daughter is also a hobby. And yeah.
I've spoke about this at the last Mattermost edition. I gave a talk on this, and on one of the slides there was a hobby. In my garage, I have a network lab, actually, like a data center and so on. And yeah, I'm quite involved with the networking stuff and so on. So if you come one time, I tell you see cables everywhere and routers and networking switch.
Recently, I spent up most of my free time playing with my son. So then the second child will be born in this September. So, and my hobby before the birth of my first child was playing bass guitar. So I was in a band as a hobby, and we would get together about once a month and enjoy playing music. And so, as a reward for Mattermost Superstar, I get to draw an avatar based on my favorite characters. And I got mine based on the bass player from the band we covered. So, the band is so named Seikimatsu, so meaning the end of the century. So, and they started their activities in the 80s and stopped at the end of the century in 1999. So, and this is funny stories. So, they were formed to achieve the project for the demonization of all mankind. And so their faces are painted white, like corpse painting, and so they look scary. So, but they are very funny guys and white people, so they are still famous in Japan. So, and so my Twitter account uses this demo motif avatar as a profile image. So my GitHub account is a bare-faced versions avatars.
The openness towards ideas, other cultures, the drive to do better, not by showing off that you are a better coder than someone else, but learning the other person to code better, that he even becomes a better coder than you are at this moment. That is something I really like about an open source community.
The most important thing to me when it comes to an open source community is, one, it's open source, so the presentation of the actual code, which I think Mattermost has done a great job at. They're not just giving you one single GitHub repo with, every single client or server-side application. The documentation is well done, and that's something that you also don't really see a lot of. But it's not only that, it's the community that is one, super accepting of the open source policy, and from my perspective, it's embraced because that's freedom to modify, turn it into what you want, and then present it again. But it also creates a lot of trust with the company, because those of us like me who understand the code can see a product or a version release, go look at the code and say, oh yeah, that makes sense, that they actually did implement this. And you get that ability for validation that, with companies like Apple, if they say that your phone is not going to die in an hour because of their software anymore, you don't actually know if they turned it off, which I think would be kind of important.
The most important thing in an open source community, like open source versus community, is the community rather than like something open source and some project on which is on GitHub. So because it's the community that drives the direction of the project, and the most important thing is the users who use the project and just recommend new features and just explain how they are using the project in lots of different ways. So so many people are using Mattermost in so many different ways. So some are just using as a chat platform, some are using it to sell as a marketplace with communication with their customers, and some are using to run educational courses. So like lots of cool ways and different contexts, and like so, and obviously developers who like share integrations and plugins with lots of different applications, and also provide like code reviews and like suggest new ways of doing things. So like the community is the most important part.
There are a lot of things important to me, but if you ask me the most important thing, then I'd say the learning, right? So being a student, if you ask me like apart from university, what do you do? So I would say I contribute to open source, and I've learned from it, right? So the things I've learned in the last 8 to 9 months that I've contributed to Mattermost, they're tremendous. So when I started, at first I saw that you folks call GitHub issues something as tickets, right? So at first I thought, are these people crazy? Why are they using the term tickets? They can just call it GitHub issue, right? But then I came to know about Jira, like how Mattermost people use Jira, the staff members, right? They create the tickets there, then it undergoes a triage period, and then finally they are published as issues for the contributors, right? So then I came to know about Jira. So back then I didn't knew about many of the technologies like Docker. So I've learned Docker after starting contributing to Mattermost. So I didn't knew what a makefile was back then. So there are many things that I've learned in these months, and I believe university won't teach you everything, so you have to do something on your own. And apart from learning, you get to network with people, you become time zone friendly, I believe. So that is one another great thing. You can collaborate with many people, you get a lot of swag, and especially from Mattermost you get a lot of swag.
I mean, being heard, and that all people from the staff, from the community, or even from person coming and just fixing a bug and leaving, we have everything to learn from each other, and everyone can bring to build a brick to the final product. I mean, so definitely the most important thing is to be heard inside the community.
I was involved in Asterisk. That's an open source SIP server telephony project.
Yeah, so apart from Mattermost, I have contributed to Parabiac. So it is a very small scale project as present. So Parabiac, I'll just give a basic idea about it. So Parabiac is about it helps Flutter teams, designers, developers to convert their design files or Figma files. So mostly we see many Figma files. So what Parabiac does is it converts the design files to ready to use Flutter code, right? So I believe that is something which has a very high potential to grow in future. So of course, Mattermost mobile apps are written in React Native, so it doesn't come here. But I've learned a little bit of Flutter, so I've contributed to Parabiac. And apart from that, recently I've started learning about a few cloud native technologies. Like I've started contributing to Kubernetes, and then I'm learning about monitoring, observability, basically the DevOps part of it, right? So I've been learning about it, and I've also started contributing to Kubernetes, but at present they are very minor contributions, like I mentioned, like some improvements to the website, and I'm still learning about it. So even I look forward contributing more to those projects, and of course Mattermost.
And I've been involved, this is my very first open source project. This was LibreOffice, which I joined since the very first day they announced their fork with the old OpenOffice project. So, and I'm still involved there. So it has been 10 years now, and I'm continuing to be involved there as well.
I've been hearing about Rust a lot, and I would definitely want to look into that aspect and get into some Rust programming a bit. That is one of the goals for the next year. And also realized I lack a little bit about managerial skills, which at this point of my career, I'm starting to understand they're actually really important, because now I manage a small team, not many, but still I need to be able to delegate tasks more effectively and communicate. So I think because I was not doing that before, it's a kind of a new role which I'm put into right now. Before I was a junior developer, I was just following what my seniors have told me, or I was just being guided. But now when I have to guide other people, I have to understand how to do that effectively and make them feel part of the team, and also make them make the contributions feel that they actually mean a lot and they carry the valuable they carry the value a lot. So yeah, these are two things which I plan on to, which I'm trying to improve, not plan on to. So yeah.
Git, definitely Git. I'm struggling with Git. I hate it, but I will master it.
I've made some Latin courses back in the days, so the way I'm writing is sometimes either too formal or too long. And this is an issue, I mean, in a corporate environment. So what I would like to do to improve, and maybe the community could help me in improving this, is to be shorter and straight to the point when I express myself. Orally is quite okay, but if I have to write this down, it's a bit sometimes difficult due to the Latin mindset I have.
For me, what I do is out of a passion to assist others, make the world a better place, and give back in what I'm good at. It's the reason that I specialize and I'm going to college in cybersecurity. I understand it, and now more than ever, especially given recent events, you can literally lose everything in your life that you've worked for in 15 minutes to a guy that's 7,000 miles away in a foreign country, you know, and having good tools like Mattermost that you can control your own data with, down to the very storage, the databases, and being able to use tools like that that are continually maintained and that have a large base of people to scrutinize the code, test it for the bugs, the issues, and then, you know, go through with repairing it. It makes a big difference as far as what you would call a really good software or tool compared to something that was produced for minimum budget, deployed for minimum budget, and could be the downfall of you. I've seen a lot already, you know. I think the biggest data breach I uncovered was 15 million users, and people don't think of it. But I have that mindset, and a lot of people don't. And I know I can use that to give back to people that don't understand it, and protect the vulnerable and give back to the people that would need the assistance.
Delivering the best available service to customers, and not doing the stuff because they need to be done, but because we can do it. The strive for perfection again, although we will never reach perfection, but it's our goal. Like, why do we go to Mars? Because we can, because we learn fundamental things there, and it's, yeah, we have to do that, and that's what is really motivating me. Yeah, doing stuff that we can do, to just delivering the best available thing that we can make.
Definitely when some people are thanking me for the work that has been done, and to see that the work we do has an impact over the community. For example, recently I've heard that the BetaGouv, which is an organization in the French government, decided to switch to Mattermost. One of the reason they've been choosing Mattermost is because the French translation was great. Not at the time we speak, because I need a bit to catch up, but this play a role in the decision. And with this in mind, we can know that even the smallest changes we do, which could be thought as being minor, could have a great impact to others and change the way they are looking at Mattermost as the potential solution. So if I have to take back the example with the MSI installer, when I presented this at the last MatterCon, I've seen a Mattermost VP coming from nowhere and saying, "Hey, thank you, because this allows me to actually deploy Mattermost easily in a corporate environment." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks. I'm glad this was helpful to you." So yeah, it's definitely what is motivating me to work hard and being able to help the community as a whole.
The first thing that I can do my hobby as, and get paid. That's really nice, and that I found a workplace can do what I want, and I'm not in the box, so I can do everything.
My favorite thing about my career is like imagine you are working on building some new feature, or you found some bug and you want to fix it, and like you are thinking like how will you fix it or how will you build it. So like you are thinking and sometime it will click in your mind like, okay, I will do it like this, and then you can't wait to just try it out, like how it turns out. So and like after you build it and you taste it and like it works, so like that urge to try it out, like whatever you have thought, and that satisfaction you get once like it is working. And I have always always like puzzles and like logical thinking and all that thing. So like in my like in computer science or like software engineering field, I get to apply that in practical world and build software which people use and help them. So that's been like my favorite thing, and the bonus part is like I get paid handsomely compared to other professions, so that's also like bonus point.
The freedom and responsibility on how I can organize my department and my day and my workflow and the products I'm working with, that's what I like the best.
It's quite a bit the same answer as before, in the sense that we even a simple line of code of changes could have an impact in other people's lives. And even if, for example, I've seen this recently with the rocket being sent to Mars, that some people have just committed some lines of code, and the code has been basically used just to send the rocket. So knowing this is quite astonishing from the first sight. And we even have seen that our Mattermost has been showcased when they've launched the rocket. I've seen a tweet on this. I even retweeted this using the French Mattermost account. And yeah, when we see this, hey, potentially other people from way abroad are using my code, and even to send the rocket to Mars. So this is astonishing. This is what I quite love in my career in IT. I mean,
as far as my favorite thing about what I do, like I just said previously, it's giving back. And, you know, there's so many scammers out there that are targeting elderly people that don't really understand technology, and the vulnerable, the people that aren't thinking about it. And I get it, you know, and I can sympathize towards the people that are losing their retirement to people that just don't care. And to me, being able to protect those people, that's really important to me. And, you know, it's not only that, but working for myself is way better, in my opinion, than, you know, having a job where you have to go drive somewhere and be on your feet all day, like folding clothes in a department store or something, when I'm doing what I love and I'm making the world a better place at the same time. Not a lot of people, or not everybody, can say that on a consistent daily basis what they do makes an immediate real life impact to significant world problems.